The council chamber echoed with laughter, a ripple of alien voices bouncing off polished walls. Every species gathered had something to say about Earth, and none of it flattering. They mocked the obsession with sugar, the worship of glowing screens, the strange ritual of clapping hands together after trivial accomplishments. One lizard-like dignitary wheezed. They even poison themselves willingly with fermented liquids and then stagger around mating poorly. The chamber howled. Earth was the cosmic joke, the backwater everyone felt safe ridiculing. To them, humanity was a circus act too strange to fear. And then the humans finally arrived, late. The doors slid open to reveal 3 representatives, one diplomat with a grin too wide for the occasion, one engineer with grease under his nails and a paper cup of questionable liquid in hand, and one translator who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. They stumbled in, arms full of fast food bags, smelling faintly of fried oil and overconfidence. For a council that expected regal ambassadors in polished robes, the sight was comedy gold. The aliens doubled over again. Behold! Earth's champions arrive with greasy sacrifices. A winged elder pointed at the bags. Are those fried carcasses wrapped in paper? The diplomat, unfazed, bit into one and chewed deliberately loud, winking at the audience. Fuel, he said with his mouth full. Fast, cheap, and reliable. Like us. The translator muttered. That sounded worse than you think. The laughter rose louder, and yet humans did not shrink. They leaned into it, tossing the embarrassment back like seasoned comedians who'd been heckled too often to care. The diplomat wiped sauce from his chin and smirked. Funny thing about humans. You can laugh at us all you want, but don't forget, we laugh too. Sometimes in the middle of disasters. Sometimes while running straight at danger. Sometimes while naked in the freezing cold, holding only a beer and a bad idea. He paused, eyes twinkling. Usually those end the same way, with stories worth retelling. Aliens blinked. Some tilted their heads confused. Others shifted uncomfortably, trying to figure out if he was joking or confessing. The engineer slurped his drink noisily. Also, our species survived the great toilet paper wars. You think your food shortages were bad? Try fistfights in supermarkets over 2-ply. Dead silence, then laughter broke out again, though this time it wasn't as cruel. It was uneasy, threaded with disbelief. A many-eyed ambassador sneered. Your weaknesses are endless. Fragile bodies, ridiculous customs, no genetic enhancements. You're unfit for survival beyond your dirtball world. The translator rolled his eyes. Sure. And yet, here we are, standing in your expensive council chamber, ruining your nice carpet with ketchup stains. The diplomat leaned forward. We're not fragile. We're creative. We fail fast and often, but we get back up faster. And sometimes we get back up just to spite the universe. The engineer, who had been quiet until then, added through a yawn. I haven't slept in 36 hours. I'm still upright. You call that weakness? He dug around his pocket, pulled out duct tape, and patched a loose panel humming nearby, muttering. You're welcome. Sparks stopped spitting. The aliens gasped. That panel had baffled maintenance crews for weeks. The humans didn't grandstand. They didn't raise their voices with rehearsed speeches. They just existed, flaws and all, and the flaws were impossible to ignore. Their messiness, their sarcasm, their complete disregard for etiquette, it didn't match the image of a weak species bowing under ridicule. Instead, it made them unpredictable, unshakable in their own strange way. The diplomat leaned back, popping open a soda with a hiss. You think laughing at us makes you bigger. But here's the thing about humans, we turn laughter into fuel. We joke in the trenches, we laugh at funerals, we crack one-liners while duct-taping death machines back together. You laugh at Earth like we're a joke? Careful. Sometimes the joke learns how to tell itself. The translator smirked, deliberately vague. And when humans deliver a punchline, it usually leaves a mark. Half the aliens shifted in their seats, unsure if he meant physical blows or something less diplomatic. The ambiguity made the chamber buzz with quiet whispers. The laughter dimmed, not entirely gone, but edged with caution. The council hadn't expected bravado, let alone humor turned into a weapon. They'd thought Earth's defenders would beg for dignity or lash out with anger. Instead, they got a trio of tired, greasy, half-sarcastic representatives who treated mockery like foreplay in a game they'd already mastered. The diplomat tossed his empty bag into a bin and stood. "You've had your fun. Go ahead, laugh harder. Just remember, we've only started warming up." His grin widened, sharp and knowing. "And we always finish strong." For the first time that session, it wasn't the aliens doing the laughing. The murmurs around the chamber swelled, and though a few chuckles lingered, the air had shifted. Humans weren't apologizing for being odd, they were daring the galaxy to keep laughing. The lizard dignitary, still smug, hissed, "You boast as if clumsiness is strength. Show us, then. Explain why Earth should stand among us." The translator grinned crookedly. "Gladly. Let's start with you. 6 eyes and not one of them straight. How do you even buy sunglasses? 2-for-1 deals must feel like discrimination." The chamber erupted, this time at the alien's expense. The lizard bared its teeth, unsure whether to be offended or humiliated. The human diplomat piled on. "And don't get me started on your scales. You molt once a year, right? On Earth, that's called dandruff. We've got shampoo for it." Another wave of laughter, now mixed with the nervous kind, the kind that signaled the power dynamics shifting. The winged elder tried to strike back, fluttering with disdain. "Your mating customs are primitive. Swiping at images of strangers, coupling based on first glance? Crude." The translator deadpanned. "Jealous? Don't worry, you wouldn't get many matches anyway. Too much wing shed in your profile picture." The alien sputtered, while the human engineer whispered, "Don't forget the part where they get ghosted. That one lands hard." The diplomat added, "Besides, at least our apps are honest. You swipe left, you move on. Efficient rejection. Builds character." Even the stone-faced council guards snorted. Aliens accustomed to flawless etiquette were thrown off balance by humans treating ridicule like a two-way street. The laughter was turning inward, bouncing at the mockers instead of the mocked. Then came the challenge about endurance. A thick-bodied amphibian ambassador croaked, "Your species collapses from mere exhaustion. You cannot endure true trials." The diplomat leaned in with a smirk. "Oh, you want endurance? Careful what you ask for. We go all night." A hush spread, followed by scandalized whispers. Half the chamber flushed various shades of violet and green. The translator coughed theatrically. "He means running, working shifts overtime, probably." The diplomat winked. "Probably." Double meanings layered into every response. "We push through pain," the engineer muttered, sipping his drink. "You should see us on Mondays." The translator followed up. "Our species invented complaining as motivation. Nothing gets done faster than a human muttering, 'Fine, I'll do it myself.'" The aliens didn't laugh this time, they looked unsettled. A sharp buzz broke through the chamber as the council's lighting flickered, panels sparking. Aliens jumped back, terrified. "The stabilizers!" one cried. "It will destabilize the air exchange!" Panic swelled. "The humans?" They barely blinked. The engineer pulled out his duct tape again, muttering, "You gotta be kidding me," and climbed over the console. He jammed the tape down, adjusted a few wires, spit on one for good measure, and smacked the panel until the sparking stopped. The chamber fell silent. "You're welcome," he grunted. "Now it's just ugly, but it works." The aliens stared, wide-eyed. Their most advanced technicians had failed to fix that glitch. A human had patched it in 30 seconds with garbage and attitude. The diplomat shrugged. "That's kind of what we do. The universe breaks, we curse at it, slap something on, and keep moving." The translator added. "And somehow it usually holds together until the next disaster." An insecto dignitary hissed. "That is not technology, that is barbarism." The diplomat smirked. "No, that's survival. Which, last I checked, is the only thing that matters out here." He took another sip of soda, the hiss of carbonation filling the silence. "Fragile? Sure. Clumsy? Definitely. But weak? Keep laughing, because we laugh in the middle of disasters, and we're still standing when the smoke clears. The aliens exchanged glances. They wanted to laugh again, but the sound caught in their throats. The humans had turned every insult into a weapon, every flaw into something dangerous. And the worst part? They hadn't even broken a sweat. The translator leaned forward, voice low enough to force the chamber into silence. You wanted a spectacle. Here's your punchline: Earth doesn't break the way you think. And when the joke's on us, we're usually the ones telling it. For the first time, no one dared to laugh back. The tension thickened as the laughter faded. A reptilian voice finally cut through the quiet. Words are wind. If you claim endurance, prove it. The challenge was issued with smug finality, certain the humans would falter. The diplomat leaned back, stretched his arms with a pop, and smirked. Endurance? Sure. Pick your game. The translator muttered. Oh, this is going to get weird fast. The amphibian challenger suggested a traditional trial of stamina, hours of stillness under harsh lights, resisting physical collapse. The humans misheard it as a competition of lasting the night. The diplomat chuckled. Careful. That's one arena you don't want to step into. The chamber filled with scandalized gasps. The translator tried to clarify, then stopped mid-sentence, letting the misunderstanding hang. It was funnier that way. Instead of formal trials, the engineer started cranking out push-ups on the spot. 1, 2, 3. His voice dripped with sarcasm. Yeah, real tough. The amphibian sputtered. That is not the test. But the diplomat cut him off, dropping into squats, his tie bouncing. We improvise. Adapt. Overcome. That's endurance. The translator added. And annoy everyone in the process. Aliens watched with wide eyes as the humans escalated. After push-ups came a soda-chugging contest. The diplomat cracked open can after can, burping so loud the chamber's acoustics magnified it. The winged elder gagged, clutching its sensory organs. What is this barbaric noise? The humans just grinned. The engineer leaned in, whispering. That was only the warm-up. Then came karaoke. The diplomat whipped out a battered phone, connected it badly to the chamber's system, and belted out a tone-deaf rendition of an Earth classic. The sound waves hit the alien audience like shock grenades. Sensitive antennae curled, wings clamped shut, tentacles slapped against chests in agony. Several delegates staggered out, begging for it to stop. The humans kept singing, louder, grinning as though destroying eardrums was an Olympic event. By the end of the performance, half the chamber was dazed, clutching their sensory stalks, while the humans looked barely winded. The diplomat bowed. Trial of endurance complete. We survived our own voices. Can you? The translator added dryly. Be glad we didn't bring bagpipes. The chamber buzzed with confusion. Aliens didn't know if they'd witnessed strength, lunacy, or both. Then came the wordplay, and it only deepened the unease. You thought we'd go down easy? The diplomat teased. We go down hard. Every time. The amphibian's throat sac bulged purple. The translator grinned, not bothering to clarify. He's talking about sports. Probably. The engineer smirked. And when we say we'll leave you begging, we mean begging for mercy. Of course. The ambiguity rolled over the chamber like static, leaving half the audience flustered and the other half suspicious. The humans didn't stop there. They exaggerated their everyday traits until they sounded like superpowers. The diplomat bragged. We parallel park in cities where the space is smaller than the car. That's geometry warfare. The engineer added. We eat peppers so hot they register as chemical weapons. For fun. The translator smirked. We binge-watch stories until dawn, then show up for work looking like corpses and still outperform half the galaxy. That's stamina. Aliens exchanged nervous looks. These were not tests of traditional strength, but they reeked of a kind of madness the galaxy wasn't prepared for. Madness that somehow worked. The winged elder fluttered uneasily. You cannot mean these things seriously. The diplomat leaned in, his grin unshakable. Dead serious. Humanity thrives on things you wouldn't survive for 5 minutes. Call us fragile, but fragile doesn't outlast the unendurable. Silence hung heavy. The laughter that once rang through the chamber had twisted into something else, doubt. For the first time, the aliens questioned whether humanity's oddities were weaknesses, or the sharpest weapons in the room. The translator leaned back, folding his arms with lazy confidence. You wanted proof? There it is. You thought we'd break. Instead, you broke first. His smirk lingered, as though daring someone to laugh again. No one did. The chamber tried to recover, dignity straining under the weight of human absurdity. A crystalline delegate finally rose, voice sharp and cutting. Enough of games. If Earth wishes to be taken seriously, let there be a final challenge. Something undeniable. Something civilized. The diplomat perked up, leaning on the table. Name it. We're good at civilized. Most of the time. The translator muttered. Define civilized. The engineer sipped the last of his soda, already unimpressed. The crystalline delegate chose a culinary trial, expecting humanity to flounder. Each species would present a dish that embodied their world's essence. Aliens unveiled delicate arrays, glowing fruits, shimmering liquids, intricate fibers that pulsed with energy. When it came to humanity's turn, the engineer pulled out a small hot sauce bottle from his pocket, setting it down with the weight of a weapon. This, he said flatly, is from Earth. The aliens leaned in. A few inhaled its aroma, only to recoil, eyes watering. The diplomat poured a few drops on a fried leftover from their earlier meal, took a bite, and grinned as if fire wasn't leaking from his nose. He offered the sauce to the nearest ambassador. Be our guest. The insectoid accepted out of pride, dabbed a drop on its tongue, and immediately collapsed, wings thrashing. Its assistants rushed to fan its body as it writhed in molten agony. Gasps filled the chamber. The diplomat chuckled. Oh, don't worry, they'll live. Maybe. The engineer spooned a mouthful directly, face flushing red, sweat pouring, but he didn't falter. Hurts so good, he said through gritted teeth. One by one, aliens tried to match it, each failing spectacularly. A reptilian hacked up sparks, a tentacle noble dunked its head in water, a crystalline diplomat's body briefly cracked from the intensity. Humanity sat back, casual, while their competitors wept, drooled, and begged for mercy. The translator clapped slowly. Trial complete. You can't handle what we eat for fun. The chamber fell silent again, but this time the silence wasn't disbelief, it was fear edged with respect. The diplomat leaned forward. See, you laugh because we're messy, awkward, loud. But what you don't get is that we thrive in chaos. We sweat through heat, freeze through winters, choke down poisons, and call it dinner. We push through discomfort like it's our second language. Every insult you threw at us? That's exactly why we're still here. He gestured broadly. You mocked our addictions. We call it culture. You mocked our stubbornness. We call it survival. You mocked our reckless ideas. We call it innovation. You laughed at Earth like it was a stage show. But here's the twist, every clown you laughed at has teeth. The translator leaned in, voice dripping with deliberate ambiguity. And trust me, when humans sink their teeth in, we don't let go. Ever. A ripple of unease swept the chamber as different species interpreted the line in very different ways. A few flushed, others stiffened. None found it funny anymore. The engineer wiped his brow and added, You think we're fragile, but fragile things don't outlast disaster. We fix what breaks with tape, spit, and bad words. We make tools out of trash. We endure pain for bragging rights. That's our species. We turn suffering into a hobby. The diplomat spread his arms as though presenting the obvious. So keep laughing by all means. Just know, when the smoke clears, when the lights flicker back on, when everyone else collapses, we'll still be here, cracking jokes, fixing the mess, and asking what's for dinner. The translator leaned back, finishing it with a sly grin. You laughed at us first. But we'll always finish on top. The deliberate pause after finish hung heavy in the air, every alien in the chamber hearing a different meaning. Half gasped, half looked away, none willing to laugh any more. The chamber was still, unsettled, staring at the messy trio who turned ridicule into dominance without raising a single weapon. The diplomat cracked open another soda, his echoing through the hall. He raised it in mock salute. To Earth! The punchline you'll never forget. And for the first time, no one dared to laugh. Humanity already had. Humanity always would.